Okay, welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. We are past the 100 episode hurdle now, which leaves just a few episodes until we hit the 2-year mark. 2 years of Hanging with Mangg. That'll be pretty cool. Maybe I'll do a live one, I'm not sure. But we're playing some Duelist today. I would be playing Deus Ex, but I'm not exactly at a point where I feel like I can just spend an hour doing side stuff. So we can play Duelist because Duelist is now available on Steam. So you have no excuse not to pick up Duelist. Try it out. It's free. You can just play it. It's good. It's better than Hearthstone. I think it is better than Elder Scrolls Legends. As far as I'm concerned, it's the best CCG out there. And the first expansion is coming out in 3 days, called Denizens of Shimzar, adding over 90 cards. And you can get, for $50, you get 50 Spirit Orbs, all for the new expansion. So that's what I did. I can't open them yet, but they're there waiting for me. It'll be cool. Yeah, so, okay. Anyways, this week on the channel, it was less than I would like. In fact, last night, I was supposed to upload another episode of Deus Ex, but I forgot. It's uploading right now. It slipped my mind, but yeah. We can only place 2. Right, of course. So there's 3 episodes then of Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, and then, what else did I upload? Oh, we started the Minish Cap. Yes, started Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, which is pretty cool. I'm excited about that game, so that's good. Could do double Crystal Wisp. That's some momentum right there. And that's pretty much it. We didn't do anything on Thursday. We didn't do any stream on Thursday, and I spent a lot of time this week working on the first video for Exploring Middle-earth, which is technically uploaded. You can all see that tomorrow on the other channel. That was probably more work than any other, maybe anything I've ever done. I don't know. It's possible. There was a lot of research into that. It's a big difference. You know, the Cthulhu mythos, yeah, it's been around as long as, Lord of the Rings and stuff. It's as old as that. And more people have written stuff for the Cthulhu mythos, but nobody has really gathered information in the same way as, like, for Tolkien stuff. Okay, well, I can do this, and I can do this, and I guess I should just kill it. We'll do that. So, I made all the videos for exploring Cthulhu mythos, and pretty much for everyone I was able to get 5 minutes or more. And it was pretty much fine, but that's pretty much the extent of the Cthulhu mythos as far as kind of widely available material or something like that. I'm sure there's plenty of obscure texts out there and short stories and things like that are like, well, this is how Sotogua really operates, and it's like, okay, even if I knew about that, would I really want to discuss it? Whereas Tolkien, the Sauron video is 9 minutes long. So, yeah, and I had to condense a lot. Like, it was really tricky to condense that much. But I did. I think it turned out alright. I am somewhat pleased with it. I think people will probably appreciate it. There really isn't anything like that out there. Like, if you search Sauron backstory on YouTube, there's pretty much like one video, and it's just a few minutes long, and it's basically just like a bullet point video of Sauron's life, where I wanted to go into a bit more detail, and that's why we have 9 minutes. Which is, I mean, yeah, it's longer than I wanted it to be, but it's difficult to condense that much. It really is. Just trust me. That's probably pretty good. 2 hits. I guess that'll probably get sacrificed. And we'll throw this at it. Okay. So, yes, Sauron. You can see that tomorrow on the other channel. Should be good. I'm not quite sure about what to do next. I think I'll put up a poll on the subreddit for what people want to see next after Sauron. I feel like Gandalf will probably be a popular vote. That's my assumption, but I don't know. There's a lot to cover. There's really a lot to cover. I mean, there's a bunch of concepts I talk about in the Sauron video that I'm like, you know, I could expand on these later. Like, you know, Melkor. There will be a Melkor video, because that's really important to the whole Silmarillion thing. You know, the Valar and Arda itself, and all these kind of other side stories and things like that. And yeah, there's a bunch to do. Tom Bombadil. But we'll see. Okay, let's do this. Although maybe I should have done that afterwards. Okay. Anyways, yes. So next week there will be plenty more Deus Ex. That's going to be a fairly lengthy LP. So we'll be doing that for a while. The only thing really on the horizon for LPs that I want to do is mid-September. I believe that Recore game comes out on Xbox One, which I think looks interesting. It's a very LP-able game, so we'll probably do that. Minish Cap will continue. Just classic Zelda goodness. We've been doing it for a long time. Big Boat Edition, I didn't do any of that this week, so we'll pick that back up hopefully. And so on and so forth. Speaking of LPs, as a side point, I've been thinking about video length, actually. It's kind of been a concern of mine since I put up the final episode of Wind Waker, which was an hour and a half long. And so I'm wondering, like, what is too long? You know, what is too long of a video? To the point of it's not really worth it. I have my doubts. Because I'm thinking about what I watch, what I personally spend time watching, and if a video is longer than, well, really, there aren't many videos I watch that are longer than half an hour, if that. Most videos that I watch are 25 minutes most. But I don't really watch LPs at all. It's just not something that I spend a lot of time doing. So I'm curious on what people think. I feel like hour and a half, that, I mean, even when I record, I was like, that's way too long. I can't do that. But would people prefer me to just break things up into 30-minute chunks? LPs will be a longer process than they even are then. If I only upload one 30-minute video a day, you know, something like Deus Ex will take like 3-4 months. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what people think about this. I haven't been getting that many comments on videos for LPs recently. Like, every time I get a new comment email, it's always about the Exploring Mythos, but there we go. I don't know. You gotta get feedback from somewhere, so I'm asking if anybody cares to comment about the whole length issue. Is longer necessarily better? Ooh, a rare crate. Okay, so on Monday, oh, I don't have any rare keys. Aha. Damn you, Duelista. Damn you. Anyways. Monday we played nothing. There wasn't a game night Monday. That's right. We didn't have enough people. Sometimes we have 7 people, sometimes we have 3, and so it's varies wildly. So with 3 people, we just decided, nah, 3's really not a great number. We could have, I mean, of course I have games for 3 people, but we just decided against it. Which is okay, because we had a game night on Thursday. Since our DM was out of town, we decided to play Sulkin, the Mayan calendar, which is a Euro game. Like, my friend, it's not mine. It's not, I don't own it. I didn't buy it. It was a very, very rare occasion where I showed up to game night bringing no games, and somebody else owned a game and taught me a game. It was very rare. And so my friend bought it at Gen Con, and it was his first board game purchase ever. His first board game he ever bought in his life was Sulkin, the Mayan calendar. And when I saw him walking down the hallway of Gen Con carrying Sulkin, I was like, my God, what have you done? Because I knew how complicated it was. sure. That's a good card. Although I fuck up on card draw. That's no good. But we got Ancient Grove. That is good. No, I shouldn't replace that. It was buffed. Fuck. So he taught us Sulkin. And by taught us, I mean he kind of read the rulebook to us. Which is not... I mean, if you're curious about teaching somebody the rules of a game, that's not the way to do it. Don't ever just read the rulebook to somebody. It's a bad move. And I knew pretty much that's how it was going to be, was he would just not have anything. He would not have enough prepared, and he would just kind of meander his way through it. And so there we were. And so the first half of the game was a little rough, and we definitely got some rules wrong. But as time went on, we sorted things out. We figured out what was going on. And it's actually a pretty interesting game. It's quite complicated. It's quite complicated. And, I mean, that's me saying it, so... yes. Basically, it has a very interesting mechanic, though. The board is made up of a number of gears, like physical gears that are interconnected. They're all connected to this one big center gear. And the center gear is basically like the time tracker for the game. So every round, it spins once. And when you spin the center gear, it spins all the outside gears as well, because they're all connected. And the outside gears it's basically a worker placement game, so it's where you're putting your workers to do different actions, like get corn or get victory points or move up on technology tracks, and all these different sorts of different resources, blah blah blah. They're all actions on these outside gears, and when the actions all have a cost, and the money in the game is corn because it's they're Mayans, I don't know. And so the actions around the different different gears, they get better. Like they start out very simple, like you get like 3 corn, but then they get much better. You get 5 corn, you get 7 corn, you get 9 corn, so on and so forth. And the lower quality actions, basically the lesser actions, cost less corn to put your worker there. Whereas the really good actions cost a lot of corn to put your worker there. But if you put your worker on the cheapest spot, like the 0 cost, which, if you're the first one there, you always have to go to the lowest numbered one. So you can't just go straight to the best one, even though you could afford it. So you go to the lowest one, the turn goes by, the gear spins, and thus you go to the next step. So you go from 0 to 1, but you don't have to pay that. So if you just go for the long haul, you start at 0, you pay nothing to put your worker there, and you go in for this long haul of actions, of turns, you can eventually get the best action for free, pretty much. You just have to kind of spend time to do it. And so it's an interesting way of doing things, of deciding how much time you want to invest into an action versus how much corn you want to invest into an action versus, just hoping somebody else takes an action so that you can just jump right in front of them to a better action and not waste as much time. And there's a lot of resource management and so on and so forth. And it's interesting. It's complicated. I wouldn't ever teach it to my family or anything like that. But as a heavier Euro game, it's got some stuff going for it, I'll admit. It's interesting. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Euros, because they tend to be just a little dry. And I guess Zolkin is no different, but still, not without merit. Well, shit. There's no way that I can do this. I guess I just have to dispel that shit, unfortunately. Anyways. So it was good. I didn't end up winning. I didn't end up doing that great. Because there's a bunch of different systems in play. You know, there's all the different actions, your straight up worker placement stuff. But then you can spend resources to get buildings. So that's one thing you can look into. And you can also... You go up to technology tracks, which make actions better, so you can look into that. And then there's also the temples, because the gods are involved, because it's Mayan. And so you can please the gods to get, you know, rewards, but you can also do stuff to piss off the gods, which is not good. But generally, when you piss off the gods, it's because you either have to or because you want to for the benefit. So I ignored the importance of the gods, needless to say. And so that really ended up costing me the game. Because people that... Especially since we kind of misconstrued the rules as far as rewards from that. So people that were in the gods' favor were really in the gods' favor. And so I didn't get much of that, and it kind of cost me. But, interesting. I'm sure we'll play it again at some point. Yes. On Friday, I finally had a family game night again. It's been quite a while. When you summon a minion with the info game it +1, well, it's got good stats. Could do that, could do that, could do that, I guess. And so we played the Under the Mask scenario for Time Stories. Which was, we were all pretty excited about it because of the theme. It's basically, I thought it was going to be like Call of Cthulhu-ish, massive Nyarlathotep. I thought it was going to be like 1920s, like Egyptian, like archaeologists studying the pyramids and uncovering something crazy. It's actually not that. It's not at all that. It's you go back in time to ancient Egypt, which also is pretty interesting. Don't get me wrong, I do like that. But Tom Vassell and the guys, I watched their review of this one, and they said that it was the weakest. It was the weakest of the Time Story scenarios put out so far, which concerned me. Because I respect their opinion. But, you know, I owned it, so we were going to play it. Yeah. I always fuck up the order of things. I'm really terrible. And yeah, it was, in our opinion, I think the weakest of the scenarios. Primarily because we didn't finish. And I think it's foolish to assume that we're going to finish each time story scenario every time in the 3 hours or so that we do it. But, you know, I guess it's, I don't know, it's odd. Since I'm only going to play it once, I should only expect, or I should expect to get my money's worth out of it. And it should be like a 6-hour ordeal. Well, this is risky, but sure. And, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't just that we didn't finish it. It was kind of not very interesting or exciting, and, there was just no... Maybe the allure, the excitement of time stories is waning. Possibly. I don't know. Could be. Okay, let me think. So that turns into a 3-3, so I can kill it with that. And then this moves in here, kills that. But that can't be right. Wonder if I'm dead. How much damage could I possibly do? 7, 11. Oh no, I think I can do it. Just give me a second. This is important. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. So, yeah, for playing time stories, Under the Mask would not be the strongest recommendation. I mean, I might say the Marcy case was my favorite so far, just because it's probably a big part of it is that I played with my friends, which definitely influences experiences. But yeah. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't know if I have much else to talk about. Oh, I saw Ben-Hur this week. Movies, 2016 in the world of movies has not been great. It has not been very kind. There's just nothing for it, I guess, but I mean, other than like Deadpool and Civil War and I guess Star Trek Beyond, it's not really been that fantastic. And Ben-Hur kind of continues that trend. I've never seen the original. Never saw it. Probably never will. Sorry. As I understand, the original is like really long. There's like an intermission between the two halves of it. In today's world, I think it would be a two-parter movie. But this new one just feels long. It's not actually long, I guess. And ooh, that's a bummer. No. No, that doesn't quite work either. Well, I could do That's a really roundabout way to do things, but sure. Take it. So Ben-Hur is the story of a guy, a Jewish guy, who lives in Jerusalem way back in the day. Like, literally the biblical times, you know. Whatever, like 30 AD or whatever. And so he's a wealthy dude, a man of privilege. And this is based on the new movie. I don't know if they how much they changed from the old story. But anyways, he's got an adopted brother who is Roman. And they get along swimmingly until one day his brother decides that he's had enough of this bullshit bourgeois life and decides to head off and join the Roman military. Become a centurion or whatever. And so he does. And he rises up through the ranks of the Roman military quite quickly, I guess, in the movie. It could have been like 20 years in the original story. I don't know. And so he becomes someone of somewhat rank, and he comes back to Jerusalem. And there's all these rebels going on. They're running around making trouble for the Romans. And so this dude comes back, talks to his brother, and he's like, I know you know some stuff, and they respect you. So tell them to, to cut it out. Tell them to stop it. And, Ben-Hur is like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sure you'll sweep through with your military and slaughter all of us, but I don't know. I don't know. And, so he doesn't, Ben-Hur really doesn't do anything. He doesn't give up the rebels or anything like that. And so, of course, Pontius Pilate sweeps through the town a few days later. And, the guy warned Ben-Hur about this, but Ben-Hur just didn't give a shit. And so one of the rebels shoots an arrow at Pontius Pilate, but he misses because he's a little shit. And Pontius Pilate, of course, gets real pissed off. And pretty much it leads to Ben-Hur being sold into slavery, pretty much. Or he gets exiled, which is, I guess, better than being killed. And so thus they flash forward like 5 years or something like that, and Ben-Hur becomes real burly. And so he eventually gets out of, there was a big battle, and he becomes a rower for like a ship. They had all those rowers. You know what I'm talking about. So he becomes like a slave of that, and he gets real burly. And there's a big battle, and the ship crashes and breaks, and he manages to survive and makes it to shore, where he gets picked up by Morgan Freeman, who's just a guy. I didn't really understand his motives. He's just a dude. And so Morgan Freeman races chariots. He races chariots. And for some reason, Ben-Hur is like, oh, I can do that, no problem. I love racing chariots. I've been rowing a big boat for the last 5 years, but somehow I'm in okay enough condition and have the knowledge of racing chariots. And not only that, he also is the best chariot racer in the fucking country. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but he is. And so Morgan Freeman goes to the brother, Marcello or something like that, and is like, I'm going to put down this crazy-ass wager, and you're going to accept it, all right? And he does. This crazy-ass wager that ends with, like, if Ben-Hur lost, like, Morgan Freeman would be broke or something. Like, he'd be up shit creek. But if Ben-Hur wins, then his name is, like, cleared. Like, he is completely cleared of all illegal activity, blah, blah. He's back to who he was. And, of course, Ben-Hur wins. Because it's Ben-Hur. And it's this big triumphant thing. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, it was... the pacing was really the problem. Because I think it's meant to be like this really big epic movie. Like, really, it's meant to be like a mini-series. When it's not. It's a 2-hour-long movie. And so, thus you have just kind of this overwrought, somewhat boring film, by my opinion. I feel like 2016 will definitely mark a year in which I begin to like films less. Just overall, I'm enjoying movies a lot less than I used. When I used to just love everything. I'm sure if you've been following me for the last 5 years, I used to love every movie I ever saw. Or not love, but I used to like, at least, every movie. I liked R.I.P.D. I think I gave it a somewhat positive review. If I saw that today... I liked Getaway before it really fucked me over. Yeah. Which is not really... I don't want to dislike movies. You want to be... I think you want to be a person that generally enjoys everything they do. I think that's a good life. But then again, you also don't want to end up like Idiocracy, where it's just, a film of butts for 2 hours and you're just having the time of your life. So I guess it's a slippery slope. Needless to say, I probably won't view Ben-Hur again. Even in the grand scheme of things, of stories about, a guy basically getting exiled from his former position and hitting a tougher life and rising back up and, learning a lesson throughout the whole thing or something, that kind of similar story. Like, Ben-Hur, the new one, doesn't have shit on Gladiator. I can't imagine a situation where I'd rather watch Ben-Hur than Gladiator. Or The Count of Monte Cristo, or, something like that. So, I don't know. But it was a bistro, so there you have it. I guess that's going to be about it for today. Speaking of shorter videos, Hanging with Mangg does not have to be an hour-long video. Although, if we had Fate this week, it would be an hour long. Hopefully we'll pick up Fate on Thursday. Looking forward to getting back in that. Yeah, that's going to do it then. So, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.